Hello, everybody, and welcome to Best of 3, an esports podcast by Organized Gaming. I'm Mike.
I'm KrispyKim.
And with us today, we have Nickool. Nickool, how are you doing today?
Doing very good. You know, we're vibing. We got all the technical issues resolved. We're good. Yeah, I'm ready.
It's true.
Yeah.
We're doing something real special today. We're actually sharing this stream with Nickool's stream because Nick has actually been a streamer for how long now? How long have you been a streamer?
I'd have to say maybe 3.5 years. I have to probably say.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. And you've accumulated a pretty decent audience. What does your following look like right now?
Currently, I'm just gonna look at Facebook following, and right now my following just recently hit 42,000 followers.
Hey, congrats,
nice.
man! I've seen you starting from the bottom, and you know you're grinding your way up. So
thank you.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, you've had a rather lengthy competitive history as well. Tell us a little bit about what life has been like in the esports scene for you.
Yeah, so starting before I even started streaming on Facebook, because my Facebook career has only been COD. But before I started streaming on Facebook, I was actually into the competitive Fortnite scene a lot to do with Toronto and even just online LANs. And I was able to win something called EGLX, which was a tournament convention in Toronto that I was able to win and gain a sponsorship from. And I was just able to win a whole bunch of little Toronto LANs and meet great people and do great things with Fortnite competitive.
So it's all been like within the realm of shooters, basically. Have you ever experimented in any other types of games or anything like that?
I think mostly shooters I've seen him in.
Yeah, I've really only been into shooters. Really, like even before Fortnite, I played PUBG amateurly, but like not really pro, just amateur. But like I've only been into shooters, unless you call Minecraft. You know, that was
I mean, competitive
like,
Minecraft.
Exactly. That's just like the relaxing days. But yeah, it's just always been shooters. Like even Star Wars, I still consider that a shooter, but like I just find it so much fun.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So, and how long has that been now that you've been playing competitively?
Most like a year, pretty much. Yeah, a year and a half.
Oh wow! So you've been streaming for longer than you've been competing.
Yes.
I didn't know that actually. I thought you started off as a competitor. Interesting.
Yeah, me streaming has just like been just me streaming games. But like once again, I just found Fortnite and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm pretty good at Fortnite. And then like I just started getting into the competitive Fortnite. I'm like, oh, maybe I can do something here, sort of thing.
Right. Were you on any notable teams or anything like that in your competitive or?
Like during my PUBG time, I was able to join a team that was called Team Crew, and they did really well in the PUBG scene after I left.
Yes, I remember you telling me that before.
Yes.
That was with Tori Pereno, is that right?
No, that's a different team. That was Nice
okay.
Gaming. That was
right.
Nice Gaming, where Tori's brother decided to make a little organization for Fortnite. But then I left that and then was able to join SXD Esports, which is a Toronto organization.
Yeah, shout out those guys. Huge part of our community too. So hey,
very cool people. And then then now I'm just here.
You're just vibing.
Now I'm just here chilling on Facebook.
So
yeah. Nope. Sorry, I'd love to get into more of maybe like EGLX was like your crowning achievement for your competitive history, right? So like, yeah, what was the EGLX Rising Stars like? And like how did that pan out? Like with the sponsorship, what did you get? How's that looking?
Yeah, so EGLX was comparatively a really big tournament, especially just for Canada in general, because like really the only tournament that was a LAN where people went and played at a place, because Fortnite was obviously a big game and you needed at least 100 computers, but EGX took it to where it's just 50 computers at a LAN, which is still pretty good and pretty big, and they took 250 contestants that ended up playing, and with a lot of heats and then finals, and I was able to make my way up to finals and ended up winning. And it was really cool just to see people from all around just Canada in general, and even some people from the US ended up traveling to Toronto to play. And it was just really cool to see all your friends play from the scene and people you met online at the LAN. And it was just really good competition. And it was high adrenaline, especially when you're in those end zones and you're rotating. It was really high. And then I only was able to win from the very last game that was ever played. In that very last game, I was able to win the last match, and that secured me the win for the tournament. And then there I was on the stage, saying that I'd be like Drake on the CN Tower, sitting on the side. Yes,
with Vicstar, right?
Yes, with Vicstar. Yes.
I think we have a clip of that, which we will actually include in the video and the actual audio podcast. Unfortunately, we don't have that for you right now, but you can look forward to that later.
Yeah. And so tell us about what it felt like to kind of get on stage and have your, as you say, Drake moment.
Yeah, so it was just an overall really cool moment, especially when they called out who the winner was, and I just walked up to the stage, everyone's clapping, and then I'm just there on the stage for like 10 to 15 minutes talking to one of the presenters that was asking me questions, what I'm going through, sort of thing, and like what are my future goals and steps. And then they even took me to the back and even did like a one-on-one interview with cameras and crew, and even with Vicstar.
Cool. And so do you remember like clearly that conversation that they had with you on stage, like when they asked you what your goals were from there, like your Disneyland moment, I'm going to Disneyland, like where actually are you compared to what you said that your goals would be?
I just remember my only goal being like this, sitting on top of the CN Tower like Drake. Like that's like my only like vivid like what they asked me, like where do I see me in 6 months sort of thing. And that's sitting. And like that was what, in November of last year.
So like even it was October. I think it was like October, November. Yeah.
Yeah, so like even then, like I still wouldn't have been like with the Facebook. Even then, like I still wouldn't have known that anything would have happened.
A lot's changed since then.
Of course. Everything's different now. Absolutely.
You're not even playing Fortnite anymore, so
yeah.
It's like I play like every now and then off stream, like just like still to get my
bread and butter, yeah.
Exactly.
So you actually ended up winning, and what was sort of the prize there? Because I know you were getting they said a sponsorship. That was one of the main prizes. Was there a cash prize as well, or what did that sponsorship entail?
Yeah, so when I won it was a $10,000 prize pool, and for first place it was 3,600. So I won 3,600 CAD.
All right.
And then even on top of that was a sponsorship with Enthusiast Gaming, where Enthusiast Gaming would send me out to 3 tournaments of my choosing in North America, and they'd pay for the hotel, flight, and everything, and the entry.
Oh, that's really cool. Were you able to take up any of those trips since COVID hit?
Definitely not yet. I was trying to do one early of this year, but it never ended up happening because it was just too late. It was just too last minute. But like ever since COVID happened, I couldn't really do anything and travel.
And
that's
I'm
really
sure not that they'd allow you to.
And because the borders are closed.
Because
who's holding LAN events right now? Nobody's holding LAN events anyways.
Nobody.
It's all online.
I mean, things are going to start soon, as it seems. Like we're going into phase 3 here anyway.
Yeah, in Toronto, in Ontario, phase 3. I believe I'm at Waves Gaming right now. We're opening up on Saturday.
Well, there you go.
We'll be opening our doors to the public. So yeah,
phase 3 starts on Friday. So you're opening Saturday, or is that Friday? Yeah, it is Friday.
Yeah, it is tomorrow. Phase 3 opens, and then we'll be open on Saturday. So really cool.
Wow, like not wasting any time there, huh?
I need to get the LAN spaces going again.
Yeah.
Like I miss events so much. That's where I met Nick. That's where I met a ton of cool people that we hang out with like to this day. So like real close friends of mine. So yeah, I really miss those times, and I want to see Nick's long hair in person. So
oh yes, it's been a while.
It's only longer now. Yeah. All right, and with that, we're going to take a little break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about Facebook gaming. We're going to be talking about competitors to Facebook gaming as well, and a couple pieces of news that have come out about them this month, and so much more when we come back from the break. We'll see you then. And welcome back to Best of Three with our conversation with Nickool. So, Nick, you've been a streamer on Facebook gaming for how long?
The
entire time that you've been streaming?
You can call it 96 days. The past 96 days I've been on Facebook. That's like been my daily grind so far.
And
96 days in a row.
Yeah.
Yes, daily streams since the start of summer. It's cool. Yeah.
Wow. So why the choice for Facebook gaming specifically? Anything you can say to that?
Yeah. So when I was streaming on Twitch at the same time, because like I've been playing with Yusuf, and Yusuf was playing with Thind, and I saw Thind's had a huge following, and same with Yusuf. So it was like they were able to convince me to give it a shot. So I would multi-stream on Twitch and Facebook at the same time, and then later when I hit the same growth way sooner than I did on Twitch, I decided to just go full Facebook and stop multi-streaming and just focus on the one platform.
Nice.
And that was on like day 10, maybe even sooner than that.
Wow.
So it only took 10 days to make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
That's incredible. All right. And so
learn from this man, kiddos.
Right? Anything you can say to the level of growth that you had in those first 10 days?
Yeah, I have a huge thanking of just been able to network with like people like Yusuf and Thin. They definitely gave me a start, and their communities was super welcoming of me getting into Facebook streaming, especially with the skill from COD and how much COD has been able to help me grow from the skill that I have in that game.
You think switching games had something to do with your audience growth?
Yeah, for sure. Because like it really it's just all what's more entertaining to watch, and like you can just compare. Like I'm gonna compare it with right now with one of the two most like trendiest games that people have been talking, and that's COD and Valorant.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why one game has more growth than the other. For Valorant's kind of one of those games where it's really fun to play, but it's not really fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I will watch Valorant myself if it's competitive, but I won't watch another streamer play it just to play it, sort of thing. I just rather just watch competitively. And there's a difference with COD. COD is one of those games that you're just able to watch it no matter what they're doing, because it's so fast paced, sort of thing. And you don't need to understand what's happening because you're just shooting at another person.
That's interesting you say that. That was more or less my first impression, like the first day that I actually watched streamers play Valorant. Like a bunch of people got their early access keys and they started playing it online, and I'm like, okay, well this is
especially
the tournament viewership numbers reflect that.
Really?
Valorant has huge hype, and if you look at some of the larger tournaments that happen, it's just the audience is not quite watching yet. And it's interesting that you say that, because I think it really has to do with the entertainment value of the gameplay, right? So
it's like, especially when Valorant was first starting out, and like even before they were giving out codes, like they were forcing streamers, like not really forcing, but like because they were obviously sponsored by them. But they were like trying to make people learn the characters before they started playing, so they understood that like that sort of thing is like makes it harder for someone to like go into it brand new, where you have to learn the characters first before you can really understand what's happening. And with COD, you just literally don't just pick up a gun and shoot it.
Yeah.
So how does that compare to something like Fortnite? Like you hopped off Fortnite and went to COD, right? So
yeah, so especially with COD being a very more higher aged demographic than Fortnite. Fortnite is like still considered a child's game compared to COD. And especially with the platform being Facebook, Fortnite has those great numbers with other streamers, but they've been on it since day one. They have their community, sort of thing. But like if I wanted to play Fortnite now, it'd be like one of those things where my community is just full COD. No one would really want to watch me play Fortnite, even if I was really good at it, sort of thing. It's just all about that demographic sort of thing.
The audience that you've built up.
Exactly.
Right.
Interesting. Okay.
So I want to pivot from that to speak a little bit about the actual platform. So Facebook gaming is what we're streaming onto through you right now. Twitch is what we're streaming to right now. Today is the official time of death for Mixer was supposed to be yesterday. Mixer's marketing department is supposedly messed up and it was supposed to be yesterday, but is actually today. Anyway, service for Mixer has stopped. They had partnered with Facebook. Microsoft had partnered with Facebook, and to my understanding, offered partnerships to Facebook Gaming if people who are partnered with Mixer chose to stick with Microsoft. And so my question for the group and for even the people in chat is, why do you think that Mixer, quote unquote, failed?
Loaded question.
Yeah.
Nick, you want to go first?
Because I've been like, obviously, like especially since this all started and Mixer announced this with Facebook, there's been a lot of talk about it. Like, obviously, Mixer did spend a lot of money trying to bring in big streamers to kind of influence the platform. And I kind of look at the numbers and see that didn't really help with Mixer bringing in Ninja and Shroud. Like, the numbers just weren't there from like previous platforms. So, but obviously, like, people were able to grow. But like, if you're just looking at it from like a standpoint, like, it didn't really help, and they spent all that money. So like,
it was a lot of money to spend.
A lot of money to spend, and it just didn't really work out. And they ended up like, they didn't even use their full contract, like not even a year worth of contract. So they kind of just took their loss and just ended it. And that's like what I kind of saw from that.
Man, I really wish they took that like 30 million that they paid Ninja or whatever amount it was, and just spread that over a bunch of smaller streamers. Who what Mixer, in my opinion, was really missing is like a lot more content. The amount of content that was available on Twitch versus Mixer was like a huge difference. And even if somebody went to Mixer just to watch Ninja, I don't think there was anything to keep them there. There wasn't enough, and I think that was their main problem, is they just had these like huge sort of marquee stars and then nothing else.
Yeah.
So they
stars. That's fancy talk.
Yeah.
Huh.
They're movie stars now, streamers.
That's true. No, that's really interesting. It's just like they paid a few people a lot of money where they had a lot of money to spend, but that's essentially buying their audience. And when those people are done streaming, those people aren't spreading that much around the site to continue to watch it. They're like, okay, well, I guess I'll wait until the next time Shroud streams, or I'll wait until the next time Ninja streams. Bringing in a bunch of smaller, I guess not lesser known, but lesser known people onto the service, like what Facebook Gaming did. Honestly, that is what Facebook Gaming did and had been doing for years. I remember when Red Mercy first got on Facebook Gaming, he'd been this was years ago. Jeez.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh no, Facebook's been doing this way before any of the
quietly.
A
bit quieter, yeah.
Like, even a big example that I'm still learning with Facebook is that they have celebrities that are streaming. Like, I'm going to give an example. Ronda Rousey streams on Facebook, her playing games. And I had no clue whatsoever. And she will raid streamers after she is done streaming.
Really?
And she will just take suggestions from the chat. Whatever chat says, she will go raid. And that's like wild to me. And I'm sure there's countless of other celebrities that are doing the same thing. But like still, like, you don't see that very much. And then if you do see that on other platforms, it'll be hugely advertised, like especially with Twitch's new Logic partnership. It's hugely advertised. But like, I'm sure you can find that with Facebook, but you wouldn't even know, sort of thing.
Yeah, unless you follow Ronda Rousey.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're targeting specific people and their audience and people who are interested in them. I see what you're saying. Yeah. And I mean, to Facebook Gaming's credit, there was another article that we had come across this week, speaking about viewership during the pandemic. Obviously, and I'm sure nobody could see this one coming, but streaming is way up ever since the pandemic happened. 75% increased gaming viewership for Facebook alone, about 60% for other streaming services. So Facebook is for whatever reason, the one that is growing the most at the moment.
Although all of them are still growing.
Yes, all of them are still growing. All of them have seen like crazy growth. But
especially at Mixer also shut down, so they're spreading out some of their viewers and viewership and
that is true too.
Market share as well. So yeah,
that is true too. So a lot of the people who are migrating over to Facebook are bringing their audience, and people are, listening over there and watching over there.
So one thing I noticed about Facebook that they do really well over other streaming platforms is their discovery. Be able to find new streamers, smaller streamers, and yeah, it's like if I'm on Facebook, I'm gonna watch whatever's on Facebook. If I'm on YouTube, I'm gonna watch whatever's on YouTube, and I don't think the audiences necessarily follow the streamers as much as you would think. If you switch platforms, I think people really tend to stay in the platform that they're most comfortable with. But Facebook Gaming has an incredible discovery sort of section, right? Do you know a little bit about that? Do you want to explain like what the discovery looks like on Facebook?
Yeah, so what I love comparing this because people ask me what's the difference between Twitch and Facebook, and obviously there's an algorithm to both, but I think Facebook's algorithm is very special, but I can't like really tell why.
Okay.
But what I've noticed from it is that like when you're in a heat of the game, a lot of your viewership comes from when you're in the final circle or like the final moments before winning. And a lot of that, because like in Twitch, like obviously there's millions and millions of people streaming different games, and it's kind of hard to find those new streamers. But with Facebook, since it's still new and there's not as many people as those numbers from compared to other platforms, it's easier to find new content creators without having to scroll down a lot, no matter what their size is. No matter what, you can have people with 200 to 100 be on the very top of the Facebook discovery and be able to find that, than rather having to scroll down pages to try and find that compared to other platforms. So it's easier to grow by just simple discovery pages being easier to help a viewer out depending on the game.
So the Facebook discovery page, walk me through this a little bit. Does it doesn't filter or doesn't order people by their view count? What I'm assuming.
Yes. So Facebook likes to go from engagement is what I've been seeing. Engagement with likes, comments, everything helps, shares, just everything helps your engagement to go. And Facebook loves just going by engagement. So as long as your stream is engaging, your stream will be up there in the top of the discoveries.
And I want to build on what you were saying there, because I think you really have something there with how Facebook's algorithm is a little bit different. If you look at Twitch, one of the biggest ways to go and find people is through the browse section. You go to the browse section, you look at the specific game, and then you can go and find, certain streamers playing in those games by either the view count or just looking through their names or looking through the browse, the titles of their streams. Versus Facebook Gaming, where, as you said, at the end of a match, when you're in that circle and people are like really getting hyped and like really starting to make the big comments like, oh my God, go for it, sharing the emotes and doing whatever, that is an activity spike. And so suddenly to go from like, not really nothing, but like average activity to boom, like that's what's going on. Facebook is like, okay, yeah, no, like everyone watch this guy.
They're looking at that. They're looking at that.
Absolutely.
So it's like almost as if the algorithm is like it's updated real time. Your stream is showed to people differently in real time depending on how you're doing, right? So
they want to show people who are excited and who are hype.
I'm not sure if Twitch does that. Does Twitch have something similar, or does it just straight up do not do that?
So what I like, especially with new Twitch, because Twitch is evolving into that, with now, instead of it showing it from highest viewer count to lowest, it now goes into your recommended. And it'll show people of all sizes now, and that will be the default. Instead of going from high to low, it'll show recommended. And that will be from people from all sizes showing up instead of it going from high to low. And that's what I've just seen from their new algorithm. But like, you can't compare. And the algorithms are totally different.
Of course.
For sure. I'm browsing through my own, and right now, like the first 5 are all people with like relatively high view counts. Well, yeah, Pokemon, obviously. But like even I'm right now looking within the Pokemon directory, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, that's cool to know. And you know what? With that, I think that's a good enough time to call another break. When we come back from the break, we are going to be. I have a news article that I'm kind of interested to get yours and everybody's take on in just a second when we come back. And we're back. Welcome back, everybody, to Best of Three in our conversation with Nickool. Now, before the break, I mentioned that there was a news article that we came across this week, and it actually was all about League of Legends. Now, obviously, you're not a League of Legends player. A lot of us aren't. Alex, you are like the opposite of a League of Legends player. Basically.
I mean, at the same time, we're in the same pool. I'm a Dota player. They're my mortal enemies, League players, but we're frenemies.
Fair. Okay, so you're like the horizontal opposite of a League player, and Nick is like the vertical opposite.
Yeah, there you go.
Where it's like, I'm not a mobile player. I'm a shooter player. I am a mobile player, but I play the other game. So this week, Riot unveiled its new LoL Esports rebrand, within which they've opened up 3 new shows, one being a weekly rundown that includes highlights and news, a top 5 plays kind of style show called Penta, and Champ Select, which is a show where guests speak about standout players. All of those are starting this week. All of those are sponsored and promoted by Riot directly onto the LoL Esports YouTube channel. And so to me, what I saw when I heard that and when I read that, and even when I saw some of the videos today, I watched those with Alex, was it's interesting to me how Riot is trying to not monopolize, but really get ahead of the content space. They're making their own shows. They're promoting content. They're promoting other players.
Doing their own news and highlights.
Exactly. Doing their own news and highlights. Trying to be like a whole sport. How do you think that would translate in other esports, like say COD or Fortnite? Should these companies like Activision or like Epic go and try to make their own content, or should they leave that to the streamers and the players and the competitive and what have you? What do you think about that?
I think like the one organization that's really doing really well is 100 Thieves. They're making like documentary style content that not only brings new viewers who don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but like it brings both esports and new viewers into a world where they're getting to understand what's happening with esports, and that like they're mainstreaming it. Like I like how a lot of new games, especially Call of Duty being one of them, are starting to mainstream their teams into city-based teams. And I think that's amazing. And obviously Overwatch, I believe, was the first ever team to do it with the Overwatch League, with that's even globally. And even COD is recent, and they were doing home series, but since COVID, they had to cancel a lot of it. Right. But I think if at one point that all COD games will eventually, or not COD games, just all games in general will soon be able to get city-based teams, and that would boost everything. It would turn into like an actual sports team with home series with actual fans that are able to go there, than rather just watch it online.
Right.
Like it makes it so much bigger than what it is, and streamers will be able to be right next there, supporting their home team, supporting their favorite team, and making content on it, and even vlogs, and like meeting their fans at events like this.
Right. So Alex, this is something that we've spoken about a lot, about geolocating your teams. A lot of the conversations that we've had with other esports professionals were before COVID. Now that like everybody is at home, it's almost like, you really want a local team, something that is closer, since everybody's world has kind of shrunk. How do you feel, Alex, about geolocated things now?
Yeah, it's tough because geolocation it's like it's a double-edged sword, right? You get that community, you get that more local feel, you get to build local fans and everything like that. But it also sort of pigeonholes you to your fans in like a certain area, right? Like it's hard to be a Toronto Ultra fan when you're from San Francisco.
Right.
You know, like it's just like it's not really going to happen. But as it matures and develops, I'm sure like people will cross over and be fans of different cities and everything. Even previously, like mostly people followed their favorite players, right? Not even their favorite teams. So even with that model, you might be able to get some like crossover to some other teams, get some fans from some other cities. But I think overall, it's a really good thing for content. Content-wise, it is probably one of the best things that can happen, right? You'll have local communities, local people who are able to produce content just about their team. They're going to have more access to that team, and they're going to be able to go deeper into the type of stuff that these guys are doing, that the team is doing, rather than having to focus on the whole league itself. You can be like, hey, I just care about our team, or the teams that are in my city. So I think it's a really good thing for content.
So is that to say, to bring it back to what we were talking about with the esport game companies putting together content themselves in-house, is that to say that it shouldn't be the company's responsibility, but it also shouldn't be, on the smaller spectrum, the individual's responsibility? You think that content should be created by the like small individual groups?
No, I think it's actually inevitable that the larger companies, they start to take over. If you look at something like the NBA, if you look at NBA highlights and like the top 10 plays or whatever, it's all made by the NBA. You know what I mean? There's also like the ESPN ones and stuff like that, but like the main ones that you see, like they're produced by the NBA themselves. And I think it's inevitable that will happen in esports as well. It's just going to take some time to get there. There's a lot of things to focus on to make esports better, and I think that's sort of later in the pipeline. Right now, content creators, streamers, they can all do that, and they don't really have to stress about it. So
right. So we already have streamers who are making the good content. We already have the organizations which are trying to promote their own content. So now the only kind of missing piece is the esports game company. So things like Riot, things like Activision, putting out these videos centered around the esports of their game.
It's interesting. I'm curious to know what fans are going to think. Like, do I want to watch a highlight put together by Activision, or do I want to watch a highlight put together by Nickool? You know what I mean?
Right?
Like, like, I don't know. What do you think, Nickool? What would you rather see?
I think it really all depends on the style. Like it really, because I'm sure there's obviously a lot of montages, like especially if you're comparing it to mainstream sports. I'm sure there's a lot of montages of what they think the best play of the game is. But like if you're gonna look at the best play or 10 plays of the game is, you're gonna want like a more official source, and that being, if it's the NBA, you would get more people looking at NBA highlights rather than call it me making it. Rather than me making it, you'd rather want more official sort of thing.
So are you afraid of that, or is that going to like take away from like content creators?
It's definitely, if you're mainstreaming, highlighting other content, making that your content, it definitely have an impact on if that is your content, obviously. But yeah,
yourself, you're not worried.
I'm playing COD. I'm
good.
if anything, I'm making my own highlights.
Right. Exactly. That's interesting to think about, how people who are already making these types of videos, this type of content, how these companies coming in and trying to take that over, it's a threat to that series. It in my eyes, that tells the content creator to start being even more creative than the company that they're making this stuff from, which is like, whoa.
Or like even sometimes like the companies could even just partnership with what they like. Like if say Call of Duty was making their own Call of Duty highlights on Call of Duty, but someone else was already doing it, they could collab with each other and just put it into one place. But you're at the same time, you're still getting best of both worlds sort of thing, rather than trying like totally kicking someone off it'd rather be a collaboration with like a host sort of thing.
I think there is room for both, though. You're going to get
Mhm.
an official point of view, like Nickool said, from a full league itself, and then you can have like the flavor with some of the content creators. Like maybe you like it to have more hip hop music over it, or more rock music over it, or whatever it is. These types of things. You'll get sort of that more personalized style by going with a smaller streamer or smaller content creator. And I think there's still space for both. You don't always want to see the sort of, I don't want to say that it's going to be bland, but generally it might be more bland than what somebody can come up with creatively on a personal level. So,
yeah. And I mean, you do see often, like, is even with this LoL Esports set of shows that have just come out, they're using existing talent. They're using people who have been tournament organizers or have been content creators to make their content, which is basically, I don't know, like if I were a streamer for any given game, and then the like creators of the game were like, hey, come and do stuff for us, the game that you like, yeah, okay. I would probably do that. Like, imagine if Activision was like, hey, Nick, let's make some COD videos together. You're hosting. Are you in?
Yeah, I definitely say yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, how can you turn that down? So yeah, I guess the real worry is the erosion of the content creator space, and if they really take that over in the long run. But right now, I don't think it's really a worry. I think it's might even be more opportunity for content creators to hop onto those projects and get more exposure or whatever it may be. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. So with that, I think that's exhausted the topic enough. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Nick, I want to ask you one more question before we go, and it's a question that we've asked almost everybody that we've spoken to. How can one get into things like streaming or things like esports or just this whole ecosystem? If somebody's looking at this and they're like, oh man, I want to be a streamer, or I want to compete, what do they do? How do they start?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I get this question a lot especially I'm sure with other streamers of my size. Like, I get that message, just like saying like I got inspired from you streaming. I'm starting my own stream. How does one grow like you? And I usually always say the same answer. It's sort of one of those things where you must stay true to yourself, and you have to network people with your size and people of the same skill value as you.
Mm-hmm.
So, like me, since I immediately started off with Yusuf, and then I was already able to get those connections with other big streamers, because all that I said is I play within and Yusuf. And like, oh yeah, I know those people, they're really good, so you must be really good, sort of thing. So if you're able to network with other streamers of your size, eventually you're going to become to the point where you're going to see more numbers. You're going to be able to grow. And one thing is that you always want to stay true to your day one connections and friends, and you will be able to grow, and always just stay true to yourself, sort of thing.
I love the description on Facebook Gaming, by the way, like the Asianadian who like let me just read this. I don't know where. But yeah, it says, welcome to the Cool Club, where a casual Asianadian destroys lobbies every day. That is very you.
Yeah,
that's very you. I read that and I was like, you could take the name away and I would know that's you. So that's staying true to sort of your audience, I think, is very important.
And I mean, people resonate with that. People will see that you're just being a genuine person. You're just, trying your best, and people are along for that kind of ride. That's interesting. All right. And then, so for that's for streaming, you can, to summarize what I think I just heard is, you make your connections, you talk to people, you stay genuine, and whatever community you create through that is whatever community you create through that. But what about for esports, competitive gaming? How does one go about trying to practice for a team, practice for a tournament, practice in general? What do you do?
Yeah, so esports is extremely volatile if you're really trying to get into it, because gaming is so huge and so massive. You're going to have a lot of competition. Like just for example from Fortnite had such a big esports phase where they literally had millions of people participating, and you'd have 1,000 people who are really good at the game, and you wouldn't know who to sign except for consistent numbers. And so if you're not already really good at the game, it's kind of hard to really go into esports, because then you have to really grow. It's either you're either really good at a game, or you're just super funny in the way of making content within a game that you're able to grow and get esports like an org's attention to be able to go into the esports side sort of thing. Or you can even go to like the business aspects of it, like even behind the scenes sort of thing.
Yeah.
But like it's hard. Like esports, going into esports isn't easy. It's definitely a huge grind, and you really got to put the time in and consistency of just staying good and making sure that you're staying healthy and you're a good gamer sort of thing. And orgs will look into that and see that.
If I can add something to that, I think another important part to competitive is making sure that your your personal branding, your image, your online persona is acceptable to be sponsored or to get on a team. If you want an esports player, you have to act professionally. Even if you're the best player in the world, if you are a huge shit talker, if you are just a toxic person, no team is going to want to sign you, and you have to sort of be ready. Like there's all that, but just don't be a piece of crap either. So
that's
like,
fair.
they'll look into everything.
It's true. Now you're the way that you handle yourself online
will reflect your organization and who you're a part of.
Absolutely. Now more than ever. I mean, it's just catching up with it all. Like it should have been a thing up until now, but now it is like absolutely a major aspect of if you get on a team, or if you're sponsored, or if anybody wants to work with you in any kind of capacity, for sure.
But we're in a day and age right now where like it could take you years and years to grow, but you say one wrong word and you can just plummet as fast as you grew, like instantaneously. So you really got to watch what you're saying and watch what you do, because that will affect you immediately.
Absolutely. All right. And with that, that is going to be the end of our podcast today. Nick, before we go, tell everybody listening to the podcast right now, listening to us on your channel, on our channel, where people can find you.
You can find me at fb.gg/Nickool. And once again, that is fb.gg/NICKOOL, right on Facebook.
Nice.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, KrispyKim Donut. Sorry, I think it's just KrispyKim on Twitter. Yes, it's KrispyKim with a K.
Donut on Instagram.
Donut on Instagram.
There you go. Good save.
I know my handle.
You got it. And then you can find me anywhere you find people. It's StillJustMike, preferably Instagram or Twitter. You can find Busse3 on Twitter at Bo3 Podcast, or on Twitch at Organized Gaming CO. You can find all of this and more on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Just look up Best of 3 and scroll until you find us. We're one of those. And with that, that's going to be the end. I hope everybody has a great week, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye, everybody.